What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Yours truly, Kendrick McKnight here, back again with another video. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel for more content. The NBA is back, man. Man, oh man, the NBA is back. And as much as I love the NFL, I love football, but I'm a basketball guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm more of I'm a basketball guy, more than anything. Outside of WWE, of course, like my fandom for wrestling is like above all else. But right below it is NBA and basketball. Um, Man, the 2025-26 season is now upon us. Tomorrow is the day. You know what I'm saying? October 21st, 2025 is the beginning of the season where the Warriors will face off against the new look Houston Rockets. And later on that night, it will be the I think the Lakers and is it Lakers Warriors and Houston and someone else? Something like that. I gotta look. But man, I'm very excited about this. You know, the NBA is, headed into a pretty cool direction, I guess. Um, it's one of those things where it's just evolution, right? I grew up in an era where, the Kobe Bryant era, not the after Shaq era, but like kind of like with Pau Gasol, Andrew Bynum, Ron Artest era, you know what I'm saying? Like that 2010, 11, 12, 13 era, that was peak NBA for me. You know what I'm saying? LeBron in Miami, big three out there, the older big three, right? With KG, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen in Boston, before Ray Allen went to Miami, of course. Melo was in New York, you know. Um, Kobe was still hanging on, with the Lakers, my Bulls with prime Derrick Rose, man. Like that was some great years watching the NBA, man. And just seeing the evolution of the game, where it's at now with guys like Wimby and Cooper Flag, right? Uh, Anthony Edwards, you know, it's crazy to say, but slowly but surely, Jason Tatum is coming up as far as like a vet in this league now. You know what I mean? Like this is approaching his 11th, 8th season, 10th, I think. Um, so it's crazy to say that. You know what I mean? Like we've already seen half of his career, or like a quarter of his career so far. You know what I'm saying? With one chip, Boston Celtics won it a couple of years ago, and man, it's time. LeBron James, of course, one of the biggest, stars in the league, him too, hanging on by a thread, you know. Um, I think he's 40, about to be 41 in December. Just built like a machine, LeBron James, going into his 22nd or 23rd season. 23rd season, yep, 23. Um, when would he be officially gone? Like, is this it for him? Is next season? Is he gonna play 25 seasons, 30 seasons? That's unbelievable. But I'm excited for this team. I'm excited for what my Bulls can do this season. You know what I'm saying? Josh Giddey got paid, you know. Josh Giddey got paid. Kobe White is coming back, of course. Kevin Herter is no, I think Kevin's gonna come off the bench. Ayo is our starting man. Jokic, not Jokic, but Nikola Vucevic is our man at the five. Jalen Smith, of course, coming off the bench. Zach Collins, right? Um, you know, Trey Jones, mm, Patrick Williams, of course. So I'm okay with where Chicago is right now, but there's still a lot of work to be done. Still a lot to learn, a lot to work on there, but I'm excited for the season as a whole. What I'm going to do in this video is just go over teams in each conference that I think have a chance to be in the NBA Finals on each respective um, conferences, and say their strengths, their weaknesses. I'm not going to go over every 30 team in the NBA. Like, I'm not doing that. And just go over, like I said, just the good and the bad of each team that I have listed here. And yeah, and also go into, possible MVP candidates, rookie of the year candidates, and of course, who I think is going to be the final two teams battling it out towards the end, in June and July. And yeah, and of course, we're going to speak about the Russell Westbrook situation, finally getting a team in the Sacramento Kings, and seeing how that fits, with him and a aging DeMar DeRozan, Zach uh Zach Levine, you know what I mean? Sabonis, right? Um, yeah, and just his impact on that team, whether it's on the field, on the court, or all off the court. You know what I mean? And so let's get into it, man. Let's go to the East. Since I'm in the East Coast, let's talk about the East. Um, I mentioned earlier just growing up in that 2011, 2010, 2011, 2012, 13, 14 era of NBA, where the East was not that good, right? And you had guys like LeBron James always being at the helm, always beating these teams, beating the Pacers team with Paul George at the helm, right? Roy Hibbert, Lance Stevenson, David West, George Hill, right? Um, whether it was him in Cleveland, whether it was him in Miami, it was always LeBron James being on top of the Eastern Conference every single year. I think he went to 9 or 10 straight NBA Finals, just off the strength of the muscle, like just LeBron James being LeBron James and having no true comp. Um, I feel like we are on the resurgence of that, where there are legitimate teams that can compete. And now you're in a situation where you don't know which team can pull it out and be that team in the East. Um, Me personally, did I have the Indiana Pacers going to the NBA Finals this past season? No, not at all. Respect to Tyrese, respect to Miles Turner when he was out there. I just could not see that. But they caught fire early in the playoffs, and it just did not go out at all. No matter who was in their way, they defeated the Milwaukee Bucks in the first round, bro. The first round, knocking out Giannis. I knew that there was something not to be played with from those moments, and yeah, and they continue their rise and um, went to the NBA Finals, man, and had a hell of a series with OKC, but just lost in Game 7. Tyrese went down. Even though he tried to play, it's just he couldn't just couldn't get it. You know what I mean? And that's the team that we're gonna start off with. The Indiana Pacers. Um, they would not be the same Indiana Pacers at all. They might get lucky and go into play in. Um, Tyrese is out still, with his ACL or MCL tear, and he might not come back at like the middle of the season, maybe towards the back end of the season, maybe like December, January, February, right? March, you know. And so with Miles Turner going to Milwaukee due to free agency, TJ McConnell, who was my personal um, player that kept Indiana in the games, um, and just true star off that bench for Indiana last season in NBA Finals. That was just amazing. He's going to be out for a while, you know what I mean? And due to an injury, and I think it was I think it was during practice, I believe, or in a preseason game. But TJ is out. Who's going to be that guy that steps up? You know what I mean? I forgot his name. Ninehart. Is that his? Like I know who I'm talking about. I just don't know how to pronounce his name, but he was solid. Doing what he had to do. Getting buckets, uh, getting those pick and rolls, man, and getting those mid range J's and hitting some threes too. I think his role is going to increase for sure into this new season. We'll have to, right, without Tyrese, right? And so I think this Pacers team, like I said, will not be the same team going into this season, but they have the team to try to get into the play in. And um, that's about it, right? I do not see them going past the first round. If they make it to the play in, they might get lucky to get that seventh or eighth speed, get the seventh, eighth seed, but that's about it, bro. That's about it. Um, but the Milwaukee Bucks, who I've had coming out the East for the past 2-3 years, just based off of Giannis and his physique and his just massive prowess and versatility to get to the basket, drawing defenses and still being able to get his team involved into plays, getting the easy layups, getting the easy J's, getting the easy dunks. And with Brook Lopez out and going to the Clippers, that leaves a space for guys like Bobby Portis to come off the bench and being that fifth man, or um, you know, now with Miles Turner out there, um, him and Bobby can go back and forth, being at the five, Giannis at the 3 or 4, or you can have Giannis at the 3, Bobby at the 4, Miles at the 5. Cole Anthony can switch on and off at the 1 or the 2, and having Kevin Porter at the 1. That's a solid lineup to me. You know what I'm saying? Gary Trent coming off the bench, right? Prince coming off the bench, right? Rollins coming off the bench. I feel like that team can definitely make some noise. I'll say about the Eastern Conference Finals, and depending on who they face off against, they could go to the finals if they stay healthy. That's the main idea. That's the main key. If the Milwaukee Bucks can stay healthy, they can go all the way. And of course, Giannis is the key. Giannis is the ticket. You know what I'm saying? Without that team, um, you know, I just don't see I don't see them. mm, they might make it to the second round without Giannis, but they need Giannis to be that major player coming out the East. Um, but signing Miles Turner definitely helped them, you know, in defensively for sure, but also getting those around the basket Jays or around the basket um shots. Brook Lopez was more so um Brook Lopez, solid center, but he's getting older for sure. And he was more so a a five that was he was a stretch five, you know what I'm saying? Not saying that Miles Turner isn't, because he is somewhat, but he's also willing to bang in the low post and get those low post layups and J's, you know what I'm saying? And bang down low, you know what I mean? And get those offensive rebounds, you know. And so I think adding him with the combo of, like I said, Bobby and Giannis, that can do wonders for them. You know what I'm saying? Jericho Sims coming off the bench too. I think that was a solid pickup for them. Him coming off from New York. I think that's a solid, backcourt, front court, excuse me. And so um the Bucks go as far as Giannis take them. That's all I can really say about that. You know what I'm saying? And I mentioned Jason Tatum earlier, and Jason Tatum is out of commission for a while as well, and we can only imagine, we can only speculate how long he will be out and when he'll be able to be back to play. And as much as I love Jaylen Brown and his game, but the Boston Celtics needs Jason Tatum to be in that same position like they did a couple years ago and being in the NBA Finals and winning it. Um, Jason Tatum's the ticket. Jason Tatum is that star that propels Boston to that next level. I think it's health and honestly the consistency that allows them to get to that point. Last season wasn't that great for Boston because, like I said, the inconsistency of them, they're hot one game, cold the next, losing games that they should be winning, um, and going up against, top level teams, they shrink under pressure. You know what I mean? And so, but at the same time, they beat mid to lower card teams. And so the inconsistency was there for sure for them. But losing a guy like Al Horford was definitely big. Trading away Porzingis was big. Trading away Drew Holiday was massive. Losing a guard that's so defensively minded and has that skill set amongst them was is definitely gonna mess them up a little bit, with Simons, he's an offensive threat, but defense ain't that. You know what I mean? It ain't like Drew Holiday. You feel what I'm saying? Um, and so I don't know about Boston right now. You know what I'm saying? I gotta see how they work. I gotta see how they do. You know what I'm saying? I gotta see how they operate in the first couple games. I can't judge them by just one game. Um, but I think Boston, like I said, depending on how long Jason's out, I think Boston may be a mid team, definitely a mid team. But um, I think off the strength of Jaylen Brown alone, with with Simons, uh, they could be a 16, sixth, fifth, or fourth in the East. You know, again, healthy. They stay healthy. They can make some noise somewhat, but they need Jason Tatum to come back and be Jason Tatum of old to strive through the Eastern Conference. Um, but yeah, Boston is they're a good team on paper, but are they better than the Bucks? Are they better than definitely better than the Pacers on paper, but are they better than the Cleveland Cavaliers? That is the question. That is the key. right now, the Cavaliers are number one or number two right now as far as that team that can go to the NBA Finals in the Eastern Conference. Um, the Cavs surprised everyone and had the best record last season, and they were just simply amazing last season. You know what I'm saying? And the dynamic duo of Garland and Donovan Mitchell, that one-two punch, whether it's three mid-range, um, going straight on at the basket, like they can do it all, and get that separation and hitting those crazy jumpers, man. They are so versatile and just so just it's just beautiful to watch. Seeing two guards that can get a bucket at any given time of the game, especially down the stretch of the games, needing someone to hit that big shot, needing someone to say, hey, nobody else is doing nothing tonight. No one's hot but you. Like, do what you got to do there, man. Um, and those two are the guys. And of course, with Evan Mobley, of course, adding a guy like Jared Allen to that mix, who is just a sweeper, man. Like he can get 10 rebounds in like 3-4 minutes, easy. Whether that's defense or offense, and just his defensive prowess and going down low and getting those putbacks just helps them in the long run. Um, and yeah, man, like also adding a guy like Lonzo Ball coming off the bench and giving, either Garland or Mitchell that freedom to play off ball and being able to hit open shots. I don't know, man. Cleveland might have this one in the bag, you know. I know they lost last season in shocking factor. But I feel like again, health is very important, but this team I think is built for a championship, you know. Um Cleveland is a team that can definitely beat Boston right now. They can beat Indiana right now. But who guards Giannis on that team? Evan? Who guards that? Who takes on the challenge of, Cole Anthony? Who guards that challenge of guarding Miles Turner? Can Allen um, not stop Turner, but contain him? You know, that'll be interesting to see. Right now, the Bucks and the Cavs are my number two one-two punch of the teams that can make it out of the East right now on paper as we're approaching game one of the season for every team. And so it will be something to watch. It'll be something that it'll be interesting to see that battle. Um, so yeah, man. But what does the New York Knicks have to say about that? What does the New York Knicks have to say about that? They were very close last season, battling it out with the Indiana Pacers. There were moments where I thought the Knicks had it in the bag, right? But Tyrese Halliburton just nah, right? Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton just stepped up big time. But the biggest thing with New York is, of course, the coaching change. I didn't feel like Tom Thibodeau was the um, reason why they lost. So firing him was just crazy. But adding a guy like Mike Brown can definitely turn things around in a sense of team morale and just the hopes around the city of New York that they can go all the way. They pretty much got the same team. Uh, of course, Jalen Brunson at the head of the snake, Cat, you know, um, Mikal Bridges, uh, McBride, and so I think with New York, they are that team that's right under Cavs and Milwaukee for me that can take the Eastern Conference mantle and go all the way. Again, I'm gonna preach that throughout the entire video. Health. If these teams are healthy, especially in New York, they can overtake Milwaukee in the 7-game series, to me, in my opinion. Because again, Giannis can't do everything. Miles had to step up. Cole Anthony had to step up. Kevin Porter Jr. has to step up. All of these guys, Bobby Porter's stepping up. Giannis can't do it everything. Can't do everything, And so when you have guys like a Cat, like a Jalen Brunson, when hot, can give you at least 25 to 30 points easily, easy. Pitching in with 15, 20 from Mikal Bridges. Um, I, that's offense. You know what I'm saying? And of course, with like I said, Mike Brown bringing that Cleveland Cavaliers / Golden State formula into New York. Ooh, oh yeah, I think New York can be that team um, that can do it. But we shall see about that. You know what I mean? But those are like my top 5 teams in the East that I feel like have a chance to, really be those teams that can, again, health that can, make some noise. Outside of the Pacers, though, of course. But I do have 3 sleeper teams in the East that I feel like not just everybody just sleeping on them, but teams that I feel like it's going to surprise a lot of people. Miami, Orlando, and this is going to be a crazy one, but Charlotte. I feel like Charlotte has the pieces. Adding those 3 Duke guys um, who can shoot, not only shoot, but also can play defense and stretch the floor, allowing LaMelo to really get into his bag, as far as not just scoring, but also getting those open looks um, for other teammates and getting those assists. Um, I didn't agree with letting go a guy like Spencer Dinwiddie go because he's a veteran presence, you know, and letting someone like that walk who I feel like Spencer can give you at least a 10 piece to 15 piece um if you let him do him. He's not, the greatest player in the world, but he's still uh sizable. He's still able to contribute, coming off the bench for any team, honestly. But okay, give it to him. Mario Williams is still out there, right? LaMelo, of course. The 3 Duke boys, I think Taj Gibson is still out there. I think Taj Gibson's still out there. Right? Taj Gibson's still out there. Let's see. Taj Gibson, Miles Bridges, of course, Pat Connaughton, Josh Green, Trey Mann coming out the Liam McNeely, bro. I think he is so good. He's such a good 3 and D wing player, hitting those, um, those, mid-range threes, not mid-range threes, but the, wing threes and getting those open looks. I think, again, that's gonna help Charlotte in the long run, having other guys other than LaMelo to hit those shots and come up in the clutch. Um, Charlotte could be a team that's in the play-in. I can see it. Um, I can definitely see it. And or Orlando, of course. Like Orlando has been a sleeper team for me for the past 2 years now. With Paolo, uh, what's the dude's name? Of course, you got Wendell Carter. You know, I'm trying to. I know his name. I just don't know how to pronounce it. What is it? Du-du-du-du-du-du. Francis Wagner. Wagner, Jalen Suggs, right? Tyus Jones sign out there. That's going to be a solid backup. You know, for um, who's there? Who's there starting PG? Um, Jalen Suggs. I think Jalen Suggs is more of like a two to me. Um, but of course, you have the big signing of Desmond Bain. That Desmond Bain move was so solid and so smart, honestly, for Orlando's part. Having that guy in the middle that can stretch the floor and bang, you know what I mean, and get those mid-range shots, go to the rack, draw fouls, and being able to be physical with the opposition and getting those looks for Paolo, getting those looks for Wendell Carter down low. You know what I mean? Um, and so I think with with Orlando, again, health. If they are healthy, maybe first round. I'll say first round, but that's it. Um, going up against teams like a New York or and New York, Milwaukee, or Cleveland, not a chance. Not a chance, bud. Not a chance. But those are my teams in the East that I feel like can make some noise. They can make some noise. They make some noise. But man, Western Conference. Western Conference. Such a much different atmosphere in the West. There's so many teams that I feel like can do damage and be those bona fide championship level uh, competitors. You know, of course, we have the champions, OKC. Can they run it back? Can they run it back? They didn't lose anybody. Everybody read up. You know, Williams read up. Uh, Check read up, and of course, Shea read up. All those three guys are the future for OKC, getting paid crazy money. Um, Everybody pretty much stayed, and they still have that formula that helped them win it all. And so, what team can combat that? What team can go down in the trenches with them and go 7 games like Indiana did? Um, the biggest move in the NBA free agency is Kevin Durant going to the Houston Rockets, getting traded out there for Jalen Brooks, Jalen Green, and some picks. I feel like this is Kevin Durant's, I don't want to say last, but this team is best suited for him. Out of all the teams that he's been on since Golden State, this is his best shot to getting that championship post Steph Curry. This is his best shot, with Amen Thompson, Jabari Smith, Sengun, Steven Adams, Dorian Finney-Smith coming off the bench, Reed Richards. Is it Reed Richards? Yeah, or something like that. Pritchards or something like that. Reed something, but who's a solid backup PG. Jeff Green, of course, a vet. Hey man, I think Houston can definitely make some noise, and I literally just seen that Kevin Durant is going to be playing the two. The two, bro. The two. Kevin Durant is going to be playing at the two guard position, where Amen Thompson is going to be at the one, because Fred VanVleet, he's out for the season. He tore his MCL. Amen at the one, Kevin Durant at the two, Jabari Smith, Sengun at the four, Steven Adams. Who's stopping that, bro? Who's stopping that? Who's stopping that? And literally all of them are like 6'9", 6'10", 6'11", 6'8". Who's stopping that? That team is so lengthy, pause, but that team is so versatile in every capacity. Amen Thompson is just one of the best premier defenders in the league. You add in a guy that is so versatile in his own unique way in a Jabari Smith, a guy that can stretch the floor as well as Sengun, and Steven Adams down low. I mean, come on, bro. That's a slight cheat code, but like I said, this is huge for Kevin Durant. This is his. Again, I don't want to say last, but this is his chance. This is his moment to for sure get that championship that he honestly needs to get away from that shadow of people saying, "Oh, he would have never won without Steph." We said those same things about Steph too, right? He only got those rings because of of Kevin Durant. Even the ring he had before that, he only got it because Kyrie and Kevin Love didn't play. They were out. You know what I'm saying? So there's always been a asterisk towards Steph Curry's rings. Oh wait, let me backtrack. So that first ring is because so and so was injured, on the road to that championship, right? People were saying that as far as Kyrie and Kevin Love when he got that championship with KD, and so we had that asterisk towards Steph until he got his championship without Kevin Durant. You know what I'm saying? Without the huge presence of Draymond. You know what I'm saying? Or Clay. You know what I'm saying? Even though Klay Thompson played, he wasn't the same Clay. And so when Steph won that championship, that's when I was like, okay, you got it. You're one of the greatest. You top 10, you top 5 in certain people's eyes. So that asterisk is off Steph's name. But Kevin Durant still has that asterisk. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't win. He can't win without Steph. And this is his moment now. to be in a situation to truly compete since Golden State. He had an opportunity in Brooklyn, didn't work out for him, with Kyrie and James Harden. I thought that was a crazy tandem, crazy trio of all time, but it didn't work out. He goes to Phoenix. I'm thinking this is awesome. Him, D Bug, you know what I mean? I feel like if Chris Paul stayed on that team, they could have had a chance. They could have had a chance. Then along the way, Brad Bill go out there. Whoo, thought that was gonna do something. I thought that was gonna do something for real. But no. And now with Houston, this is his chance, man. This is his chance, his opportunity. And now, him being out there for sure now for the next 2, 3 years after signing his 90 million contract extension. Yeah. He trying to win for real. But I feel like outside of OKC, outside of um outside of OKC and this following team, those are the only teams that's in KD's way. And that team is the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas Mavericks is so deep, pause, that they can ruffle some feathers in OKC and honestly Houston. Kyrie's coming back healthy, AD coming back healthy. You know what I'm saying? Um, Flag, right? Um, Flag is he's just amazing, and to me, he is possible. Obviously, number one pick. Like he's the possible rookie of the year, but I think with the addition of him, let me hold on. Let me see. Let's see. Max Christie, Gafford, right? Lively, Powell, D'Lo, right? Clay Thompson, PJ. I think this team can definitely do something. Again, health. If they stay healthy, especially with AD and Kyrie being the stars of the team, Western Conference Finals, Western Conference Finals, or if not, NBA Finals. I see it, bro. I see it. The only thing in the way of them, of course, is those two juggernauts of um, OKC and in Houston. You know what I'm saying? But um, we cannot forget about we cannot forget about the Denver Nuggets and Jokic and those boys in Denver. You know, they are coming back with a mission. They shook up some things in their roster. Russ is not there anymore, of course. Uh, DeAndre Jordan is not there anymore. Christian Brown literally just read up with a 5-year, $125 million contract extension. Crazy. Which I feel like he's a great piece out there. Um, Being that guy that he's not mostly known for his shooting, but at the same time he will put that shot up. But he's very a decent amount of a defender for the perimeter. And adding a guy like Cam Johnson, trading him away for Michael Porter Jr. and him going to Brooklyn, I think that was a solid move. Even though Cam is not as he's not as versatile as a Michael Porter Jr., but he could put the ball down low, and he can definitely check the ball and hit that J, hit that 3-pointer, and hit those mid-range shots, or even go to the rack himself. And so I think with Cam, he brings a different energy and definitely a different vibe to the team. And of course, with Jamal Murray, Jokic, um, what's his name? Star. Is that how you say his name? Coming off the bench or possibly starting as well. Um, yeah, like Bruce Brown, Aaron Gordon, of course, Tim Hardaway, right? Tim Hardaway Jr. coming off the bench. Yeah, Julian Strawyer. Yeah. And also too, I think what a nice piece that they did in the off season is adding a guy like Jonas, Jonas, Valanciunas, coming over from, I think he was in New Orleans last season. Coming over to Denver, definitely was a solid piece for them. Um, DeAndre Jordan, he was a solid to decent level of backup for Jokic, but it's not Valanciunas. Valanciunas is definitely more, mm, definitely can get more offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, and get those put back dunks or pick um puts back dunks or lay-ins. You know what I'm saying? More of, you know, he's just more sizable with today's game than a DeAndre Jordan, in my opinion, anyway. DeAndre Jordan is getting up there in age, and I don't think he's picked up. I think he's still teamless, but he's at that stage now. Maybe a season or two, and he'll be gone. You but I think adding a guy like Valanciunas, giving Jokic time on his own, off the bench, on the bench. I think that was a very solid move for them. Very solid. And another team that didn't necessarily change anything, but they're still on paper one of those, not sleeper, but they can surprise a lot of people with how far they can truly go, depending on the matchups and depending on what they do when it's time, right? The Minnesota Timberwolves are a team that I feel like can definitely make some noise. They didn't change anything, but they can sneak up on you. Anthony Edwards, that's just he's so acrobatic and so amazing in all ways, going to the basket, mid-range, three-pointer, sizing any and everybody up. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a dog, straight dog. And so he's the future of the NBA. I think, a guy like Julius Randle is very good. You know what I mean? He's not the greatest player in the world, but he plays his role. 15, 20 points easily on a good night. Rudy Gobert, who gets a bad rep, as far as his defense abilities, but he's durable. He's doable. He's someone that you tolerate at the five. You know what I mean? He does his job, put back shots, dunks. You know, uh, get those very important offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds. You know what I'm saying? Block shots, a steal here and there. You know what I mean? But uh, of course, with the vet Mike Conley, they can definitely make some noise there. But Dante DiVincenzo, you know what I mean? Bones Highland was a solid uh, move for them. You know, someone that can come in for Mike Conley. You know, because you know, giving him a couple years, he's gonna be out of here too. You know, Naj Reed at the five, interchangeable with him and Rudy. Jaden Daniels at the three, Jaden McDaniels, and so, man, yeah, like I think this team again, they can make some noise if they beat a high ranked team such as a Houston, such as a Dallas. They might surprise the world and beat OKC in the first or second round. They are automatically my favorite to win the West. If they beat those three teams that I mentioned, yeah, we gotta turn our heads and look at certain people differently. You know what I mean? I feel like they can go toe to toe with Denver. Honestly, truly, like I feel like they can battle it out with the Denver Nuggets team like this. You know, not saying that Rudy can cancel out Jokic or um, Conley can cancel out Jamal Murray because them two that tandem is going to get theirs regardless. But what are the other team members going to do? You know what Bruce Brown's going to do, what Christian Brown going to do, you know what Aaron Gordon is going to do in those late game pressure moments. Whereas Anthony Edwards, he going to do what he do. Julius Randle is going to do what he does. You know, what I mean? Jaden McDaniels is going to do what he do, and Dante DiVincenzo, give him an open shot, he's going to shoot it and it's going to go in, right? And so, uh, yeah, Wolves can definitely allow Denver to like sweat for real. And those are my five teams in the West that I feel like could definitely take the mantle in the West. My sleeper teams are definitely the San Antonio Spurs, that not six, but 7'2", 7'3" monster in his third year. And Wembyama, like he's playing on a crazy level in the preseason that I've been seeing, and he's definitely the future of the NBA, and definitely make some magic there. And adding a guy like De'Aaron Fox and Castle and Vassell, um, you know, Harrison Barnes as well, Jeremy coming off the bench. This team can be a 7, 8 seed, 6 seed, depending on matchups, or just seedings, excuse me, or in the play-in. I don't see the Spurs having a better record than Denver. I don't see the Spurs having a better record than the um, Rockets or OKC or the Mavs. I just don't see it. I gotta see what they can do, um, further in the season. But the Spurs are one of my sleepers. The Los Angeles Clippers are a sleeper team for me. With the tandem of a seasoned James Harden, who is not the Houston Rocket James Harden anymore, but he can still put the ball on the floor, facilitate, and give you a good 17, 18, 19 points. On a great night, 25, right? Um, so he's definitely not that scoring machine of old, but he's still doable for this Clippers team, right? Bradley Beal. They got Bradley Beal, um, training him from Phoenix. I think Bradley Beal is a pretty good guard. Um, he can definitely give you 20, you know. But does he fit into this tandem of, you know, with James Harden and Kawhi Leonard? Can he work with them? Can he be that guy? You know, whenever, you know, whenever Kawhi's not feeling it, James Harden's not feeling it, can he step up into that role and be that guy on a team with championship aspirations? You know, with Washington, it's easy to be that guy when, you know, this is a dead franchise. You know, do what you do. You know what I'm saying? There were flashes here and there when he was healthy in Phoenix, but when healthy, can he be that guy to take the reins from Kawhi, from James Harden, and be like, "It's my team now, bro." You know what I'm saying? Can he be healthy enough to have that longer of a stretch to be the player that Clippers needs to have a um run in the playoffs? Can he be that guy? And it's, you know, we have to see about that further down the line. But for me, bro, their best off-season move was, of course, adding a guy like Brook Lopez. Adding Brook Lopez at that 5 spot um was very good, obviously, and very much of a position that was needed, you know, especially for Zubac. You know, Zubac played hella minutes last season, and they didn't really have a true backup for him. You know, Drew Eubanks, he was okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's tolerable of a player to come off the bench while Zubac rests up. But adding a guy, a vet in Brook Lopez can definitely do more harm, does more good and harm for the Clippers bench. And um that's a great pickup. Great pickup. Amazing pickup for them. And like I said, uh depending on seedings, they could be a 7th seed. They could be an 8th seed. Um maybe a 6th seed. We have to see, but um championship? Nah. I think that championship window went out the window. Um, I'm not gonna say with PG left, but I think the season after PG, they still could had a chance. But now, so many teams have loaded up in the West that Clippers, I don't think they can hang, man. I don't think they can hang with a Houston. I don't think they can hang with a Dallas. I don't think they can hang with OKC. I don't think they can hang with Denver, honestly. T Wolves either. No, not at all. Um, if they stay healthy, yeah, they could have an opportunity. But in the end, can they overtop these teams? No, not at all. Um, a lot of people are sleeping on the Suns. People say Houston won the trade, but I've seen a lot of Phoenix Suns play in the, you know, with their practices or their preseason games. They are good. You know, the rebuild mode is definitely on with D Book, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks. You know, Grayson Allen is still out there. You know, they got some shooters, man. They got some shooters, and once they get things rocking and going, and they get into a groove of things, I don't know, man. They could be a playing team. They can definitely be a playing team or sneak their way into the 6 seed so they can avoid being in the play-in. You know what I'm saying? But do I see them going far? Nah, not at all. Not at all. I mean, maybe the first round. That's it. But that team, people are very much sleep on them. You know what I'm saying? But another team that I have as a sleeper, and yes, I do have them as a sleeper. The Los Angeles Lakers. I don't see, especially now with Braun being out until November, possibly December. I don't see a lineup of Luka Doncic, Gabe Vincent, uh, Aiton. Um, who's the three and the four? The Connect is Connect the three? Who's replacing Brian at the three? I Rui at the four and somebody at the three. I think is Dalton. Um, or is it Vandy? Is it Vanderbilt? I've seen it on either ESPN or Bleacher Report where they announced the lineup for the Lakers. It was Luca, Gabe Vincent, Luca, somebody at the three, Rui, and Aiton. I'm gonna say Dalton, just for the or is it Jake? Austin Reeves not starting, bro. That's crazy work. That's okay, whatever. But um, I don't see that tandem of them winning much games. Luca is going to carry them. This isn't Dallas, bro. This is Los Angeles Lakers. I don't. Aiton was a good pickup. You know what I'm saying? But he ain't no Shaq. He's not Kareem. He's not any Andrew Bynum. He's not any of these Laker greats. Dwight Howard, even if you want to put him in that conversation. But he's again a doable player that can give you 10 and 10. You know what I mean? Not a 2020, not a 2010. You know what I mean? He I don't know what's going on with the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? You have Austin Reeves, you have a Dalton Connect. Luca is your prime star. He's your superstar. He is that guy that you promote and be the superstar of the future. LeBron James has a solid 2 years left. Um, if that, in my opinion. And so is injury withholding them? Is injury putting them in a space of, you know, getting off LeBron James? You know, because they didn't pick up his option. You know, they didn't, repay him. You know, he's going to be a free agent next season. So what is he going to do? Is he going to retire? Is he going to stay a Laker? If that's the case, then why not keep him on contract and extend him? They didn't extend him, so that puts me in a space like, okay, Lakers is not it for him anymore. So what's next? Is he gonna stay within the California area and go to the Clippers, or is he gonna go to Dallas? Is he gonna go back home to Cleveland? Go to Miami? Go back to Miami? Go play with Bam and Jimmy? Not Jimmy, but uh Tyler Hero? You know, knowing LeBron James, I've been watching him for a long time. It seemed like he wants to be in a situation where he wants to win now. Dallas is in a position to win now. Houston's in a position to win now. If he wants to go back to the East, Cleveland's in a situation to win now. New York is in a situation to win now. Um, Milwaukee is in a situation to win now. Adding him with Giannis would be super crazy. Um, Boston is in a situation to win now, but how would that work with him and Tatum? You know what I mean? Tatum going to be at the three. Tatum going to be at the four, right? Um, I don't know, man. That's going to be a interesting um dilemma to see play out next season. next off season. But this season right here, man, it's not starting off good with the Lakers for the Lakers at all. For LeBron James to be out for the next 2 months, um, or a month and a half, 2 months. Um, that's why they are in my sleeper team. I don't see them making it far, honestly. I don't, unless Luca just goes super crazy and puts up 30 points, 35 points every single night, which I don't see happening on a consistent level. It's going to happen for sure. Absolutely. It's Luca. But on a consistent level and they win games, I don't know. I don't know, but we shall see. Um, but yeah, man, those are my teams in the East and the West that I feel like have a chance and opportunity to make it out the conferences and make some noise. Make some noise for sure. Um, but let's also talk about a team that I don't see making it far or honestly even play in. Um, maybe a play in. I don't maybe we'll see. We shall see about that. But I want to talk about a particular player that's going to be playing on this team. The Sacramento Kings picked up Russell Westbrook for 1 year and let's see. Let's see. What was his deal? What was his deal? It was a 1 year, um, 1 year, $3 million contract with the Sacramento Kings. And so the most disrespectful thing about it towards certain fans is that why did it take this long for Russ to get picked up? Russ is you know, one of the most impactful players in the modern day era of the NBA, going back from his OKC days, carrying them as much as he could, especially after Kevin Durant left and went to go to State, right? Um, just doing everything that he could to put that team on the map and take them to the playoffs. Obviously losing, but um, with the triple doubles and doing everything that he could in those departments, it just wasn't enough for him. Then he gets traded to Houston, I believe, teams up with James Harden. They did solid work out there. It just didn't work between those two. He then goes to the Washington Wizards, lifts up a dead organization, takes them to the playoffs. They didn't win, of course, but just his impact alone allowed them to have some type of spirit, that was dead for a while and alived it. It's like, oh, like they could do something. Ultimately loses, but it's just his prowess, man. His just will to do any and everything on the court and win games. Russ, was willing to do. He leaves there, goes to the Los Angeles Lakers, which is where I feel like the disrespect comes from. Like it's a pattern for certain players that plays with LeBron James. We saw it with Chris Bosh. We saw it with Kevin Love. We saw it with Anthony Davis. If you don't do your part, I guess, the media just scrutinizes you every single time. And Russ was the scapegoat in those moments when he was out there with LeBron James, with Anthony Davis, and being the sole reason why they lost when it was LeBron James that came up short in those games. You know what I'm saying? Um, it was other guys on the bench that did not play their role out and didn't allow the Los Angeles Lakers to move forward in those series. Um, and so for Russ to get the rap on that was crazy. Then he goes to the Clippers, and that worked somewhat, but I feel like the Clippers didn't do him right by him being the number one person in that position of point guard, and then you add a guy in James Harden, where you demote Russ to the bench, come off the bench, just off the strength of, oh, I want to win, I want to win, I want to win. He comes off the bench, and still it clearly wasn't good enough for you guys. So you boo him out of Los Angeles. He goes to Denver. Again, that wanting to win mentality comes off the bench for Denver because, of course, Jamal Murray is the guy in that position, right? When Jamal could have easily went to the two, or Russ to at the two, because Russ can play off the ball too. You know what I mean? But anyway, I think Russ is one of those players, those generational players that you put him in any system, it can work because he's willing to do whatever it takes, regardless of what makes Russ Russ. As far as his playing abilities, he's willing to do whatever it takes to fit that team system and um and try to win. Period. You know what I'm saying? Um Russ hasn't always been the greatest 3-point shooter, but look at what he was doing down the stretch in those Denver games last season in the playoffs, hitting those threes, getting everyone involved, being scrappy down low, getting steals, blocking shots. Like that Russ was amazing to see. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't about the triple doubles anymore. It wasn't about scoring every basket. It wasn't about, you know, trying to be the man every single time getting the ball. It was about putting the team in positions to win the game. And that's what makes Russ one of my favorite players of all time. And putting on a show, whether it wasn't offensively, it was all around. You know what I mean? Something that the box score won't tell you. You feel what I'm saying? And so I love Russ, man. Him getting this opportunity to get into the league again, you know, playing with the Kings, 18th season, wearing the 18 jersey. Um, man, I'm loving it. You know, I'm not even a Kings fan like that, but I'm gonna be watching some games and watch Russ. You know, playing with DeMar, playing with Sabonis, playing with Zach Levine. You know what I'm saying? Playing with Dennis Schroeder. You know what I mean? Like that's gonna be a cool scene. That's gonna be a cool scene, man. They could be a sleeper team. I just didn't have them at that level yet. You know what I'm saying? I gotta see them play. I gotta see them play all together. But Russ's impact with every single team that he's been on literally shows. Um, just watch the games. Just watch the games, bro. Just watch the games. But I love Russ. You know what I'm saying? I love Russ. Love his game. And um, you know, I seen an interview where he said this is not a chance at all of it this being it for him, you know, being his final season. But I'm at a position, I'm in a point now in my life where I'm just appreciating who is playing now. You know what I'm saying? Because I know in another decade, none of these guys be playing. LeBron ain't gonna be playing. Chris Paul ain't gonna be playing anymore. PG, James Harden, Russ, um, who else is playing, man? Um, Kevin Durant is not gonna be here in another decade. Man, Kyrie's not gonna be here in another decade. AD is not gonna be here in another decade. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's great. Kawhi, wow, Kawhi, man, Kawhi Leonard, man, wow. You know these guys, you know, I grew up on. You know what I'm saying? But um, we shall see. We shall see. We shall see. Um, but yeah, let's get into some MVP candidates. Oh my God, Steph Curry's not gonna be here after a while. Wow, man. Okay, MVP candidates. Um, Obviously Shea is gonna be in there. I think he averaged Shea averaged 32.7 points last season, shooting 51.9% from the field goal, 37% at the 3 point, average, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals last season, all around the floor. Played 76 games. Man, he only missed what, 6 games last season in the regular season? 82 games? Yeah, 6 games. Wow. Um, that's incredible. And still to put up the points and honestly just the all around play that he did throughout the entire playoffs, but especially in NBA Finals, it's just incredible. He deserved the MVP. Um, and so Shea's going to be in there. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Steph is going to be in that conversation as well. Um, you know, Carrying the load once again at the back end of his career. You know what I'm saying? Steph, Shea, you know what I mean? Mm, I think Ant Edwards is going to be in that conversation as well. He's going to be in there. Um, and if I had to see one more person, whew, Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson. I feel like he played very well last season too. You know what I'm saying? I think he averaged 20, 25, 26 last season. Let's see. Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson stats. 26. Yeah, 26 points a game, 38% from the three point line. 7 assists, 3 rebounds, 1 steal. And shooting overall a 49% from the field goal percentage. Wow, right? Going into his fourth season with the New York Knicks, Jalen Brunson definitely is stepping up, from his days in Dallas, being, the somewhat sidekick to Luca, but he really showed his tail and showed his dominance of play in New York. And so I think he can be in that conversation too. So Jalen Brunson, Shea, Steph, and Anthony Edwards are my 4 picks at this current moment before the season starts as possible MVP candidates and take away that award. Rookie of the Year, there's only 2 people that I have in mind right now. Cooper Flag, and I cannot pronounce that dude's last name um, in Charlotte, but Khan, sharpshooter, freaking sharpshooter, man. Sharpshooter. I was watching this game in the summer league. Oh my god, he was so good. Um, I think Charlotte won the championship, right? Yeah, they won. But Cooper Flag is just such an all around player. Even though he went to Duke, even though both of these guys are Duke players, I still have them both as top contenders of taking that Rookie of the Year award. Um, but yeah, Cooper is just such a all around player and just an amazing athlete. And I feel like he can definitely be someone that is around the NBA for the next 10, 15, 20 years, honestly. If his health says anything about it, yeah, he can definitely be that guy for the future. And last but not least, man, my um my picks to be in the NBA Finals next season. Not next season, but next year, 2026. Ooh, that's hard. That's hard right now. But if I had to say right now, I'm going to give the edge to the champs right now. OKC, I got to see what Houston does. I got to see what Dallas does. I got to see what the T Wolves does, right? But right now, I have the OKC Thunder not repeating, but just going to the NBA Finals right now. And in the East, like I said, I don't see Pacers going back. It's going to be a new East champion this year. Um, ooh, ooh, sheesh. I'm gonna give the edge slightly because they're more overall team. One team centered around just one person can't do the job. So right now, Cleveland. I got the Cleveland Cavaliers right now coming out of the East, going up against the Oklahoma City Thunder for the 2026 NBA Finals. Right now, um, on paper, both teams are amazing. Nothing has changed, like I mentioned earlier. Nothing has really changed for Cleveland other than the Alonzo Ball um, acquirement, and that's going to be do wonders for Garland and Donovan Mitchell. Playing off ball, getting those open looks, but you still can't wipe away what OKC has done. You know what I'm saying? OKC was just amazing last season, and I feel like that play and that momentum is going to continue into this season. And yeah, I got the Cleveland Cavaliers and the OKC Thunder at this current moment right now to be the East and West champions and going head to head in the NBA Finals. Who wins that? I don't know. This is just for who goes, not wins, right? So, man, this was my NBA preview um, prediction video. The season starts tomorrow. I want to go ahead and get this video out. You know what I'm saying? And so, man, make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel for more content. This is yours truly, Kendrick McKnight, man. The Life of Kendrick. More videos coming. The Beneath the Surface podcast is jumping right now. Me and Lonnie and King's gonna come back at you guys, with more wrestling content. Me and Lonnie have our own thing going with Under the Lights with McKnights, with the McKnights. Just NFL content. You know what I'm saying? So I want to just do my own thing with the NBA stuff. NBA stuff. I might have my brother on eventually to talk NBA and talk ball. Maybe that's going to be our thing. And so, yeah, I got my hands in everything. You know what I mean? Professional wrestling, NBA now, NFL stuff. You know what I mean? And still got my articles going on for the fan feed. And so I got a lot going on. I love it. You know what I'm saying? But until my next video, yes, sir.